Hi, I'm Reverend Nina Rowe, founder of AngelsTeach.com, and welcome to Angels Teach TV and Angel Messages for the week of August 8th through 15th. Last week we were looking at the Goddess of the Sacred Path and reflecting on what we have created and feeling a sort of quiet joy, because it certainly has been a very creative summer. And then allowing that sacred feminine as exhibited through the Goddess of Beauty, those 9 butterflies that were so powerfully speaking about the creative feminine energy that is in power, returning to power I should say, and that is really creating a lot of wonderful, wonderful change on our planet right now. This week's messages are going to come from Tony Carmen Salerno's Spirit Oracle deck. And I'm going to use my clairaudience sense this week. Last week we used the clairvoyance sense to choose the cards. The angels like to play, and they would like me to use my clairaudience sense. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my hands over my left hand over the cards, and I'm going to stop when I hear them say stop. This has said stop. So I know I'm in the right area, but I don't have the exact card yet. And now I'm hearing that one. And that one is Moon Goddess. Beautiful card. Actually, this week we have the new moon that I believe is on August 9th. Powerful time to create. Stop. This one? No, the one before it. Okay. And the one before it is good news. Already a very ethereal feel to this card spread. That one. Okay. Now you notice I bopped my head. That's because they said this one, and a lot of times my clairsentient sense will kick in. It's my strongest sense, and it will say, yes, it's almost a validation, or it is a validation. An inspiration card. A beautiful spread. I'm already noticing a lot of purples and blues, a lot about awakening, as was in our theme the last couple of weeks. So again, the first 2 cards feel very ethereal. They feel a lot of real powerful angel energy, just that more on the spiritual plane as opposed to more on the physical plane. So it starts out on a very spiritual level and already feeling this sense of moving from the spiritual to the physical level. A lot of times people will ask me about the correlation between the angels and physical health, and my answer is that physical health is always a reflection of what's been happening on the spiritual plane, and is a lesson and an opportunity is really the right word to use, an opportunity for us to work through our relationship to God and the angels and to come to a place of greater peace and harmony with that. Now, of course, illness is a very, very challenging thing to encounter, and whether it's with you or a loved one, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you can overnight cure a situation just through prayer. The message that I'm getting from the angels right now is really to invite you to fold prayer into your healing process as much as you can, whether it's for a loved one, whether it's for yourself. And certainly there is a need for medical help on the physical level, but to remember to bring prayer into your healing process as well. So I was just, again, this is about clairaudience sense, and in the interest of transparency, I was just asking my angels, did I say that clearly enough? And their answer was, yes, you said that perfectly. So just sharing you a little bit about how the process works for me and how I have that dialogue kind of all the time with my angels. So looking at the Moon Goddess card, I'm seeing rebirth. It's this brilliant light that's coming out of the top of her head, and it's pushing upward. I'm seeing it pushing upward, and it's about rebirth. It's about pushing forward. It's about bringing anew. There's a lot of force. There's a lot of energy, and again, it's on the spiritual plane. So my emphasis for you this week is to really work on that spiritual practice, to really, we're heading into the fall season soon, so it's a time when we tend to return back to structure where, of course, we're still enjoying those summer days, but there is a sense of, okay, I've got to start to get back into gear here, I've got to start to establish routine. And what I'm hearing is start with the physical, start with the spiritual, and really look at your spiritual practice that you have every day. If you don't have one, then definitely start that. If you do have one, look at it. See, is there anything that I need to tweak with this week? Is there a meditation I need to change or add? Is there some other way that I need to connect with my angels perhaps? Just work with your angels on it and you'll know what's right for you. The key is what's right for you, not what's prescribed by somebody else, but what's prescribed by your angels for you. Looking at the good news card, it actually feels less about good news. I mean, it certainly is good news. This isn't a bad news kind of scenario, but the message I'm getting more is about patience. It's about sort of she's resting a bit, but she's ready to move, but she's resting. And so it feels to me that it's about positioning, that this week is about getting the spiritual plane in order, getting that practice ready, because it's going to be a busy fall. And it feels like it's just, okay, let's get things organized and let's rejuvenate and be ready for this busy fall, because it's going to be a joyful one. There will be a lot of change, but there will also be a lot of joy. So looking at the inspiration card, this is where this spread really becomes very physical. It looks like, again, that birth image is coming forward very clearly. I'm seeing that rose, that yellow rose at the bottom, really anchoring this card. And it looks to me like an exclamation point. If you look at the oval above the rose, it looks like an exclamation point. So there's a real strong emphasis on the connection between the spiritual and that spiritual practice and the physical health, and being truthful about how you're feeling. We've talked a lot about truth this summer as well. The next thing that I'm noticing is the veil that comes underneath her nose and goes up around her face, and it's really about being mindful of before you speak, and to not speak unless the words are going to be constructive and that they're going to be loving and they're going to be supportive of your spiritual practice and in alignment with your intention with your spiritual practice. We tend to use a lot of energy with our words and with what we say. And I think our angels are really inviting us to be a little more mindful of how we spend that energy, and to make sure that when we do speak, that it is constructive and that it is powerful and it is positive. So tuning in for any last messages here. And I can't take my eyes off the flame on her nose in the inspiration card. I'm not quite sure what it is yet. But I'm hearing these senses and the connection of the senses. You'll notice that flame on the nose is moving up to the third eye, and it's the connection of the senses. And I think it's really an opportunity this week, especially for us to connect all the dots with our senses, to notice how we're feeling along with what we're seeing, along with what we're hearing, and notice the synchronicities. Because when things line up perfectly and our senses are all speaking in alignment and in harmony, that's when magic really takes off. It's very powerful. So that is your message for this week. Thank you for joining me here. I invite you to visit angelsteach.com for our listing of online classes and teleclasses, a bunch that are starting this fall, the Angel Communication Specialist training in particular, and also our Living with the Angels program. Again, thank you for joining me. Blessings of love, joy, and abundance to you. Be well.